What's up, gamers? Barnes here. Today I want to talk to you about our last session that we had this Saturday. We were playing Rise of the Rune Lords, Burnt Offerings, and they were in going to the Thistlewood Island, and they were in the Nettles dungeon crawl type cave. There's these nettles that are along the cliffside before they can get to the island that have little tunnels in them that are big enough for a goblin to fit in, and small creature to move about freely, but medium creatures have to move at half speed and hunched over. We left off in the middle of the Thistlewood crawl, and when we came back, we first thing we encountered was the goblin dogs. I think they're C5 is the location, but they came in and they went after the goblin dogs, right? Is that where we started off?
Started off by that hole.
Okay. Oh yeah, they started off by the hole, which I can't get into details yet because I got some players.
They don't know what's in the pit.
They don't know what's in the pit yet. But they went from the pit to the next area, and there were some goblin dogs there. And when they went into the area, the goblin dogs didn't really want to fight. You know, they were just kind of backing up and growling. And I had them ready in case like one of the players came at them. And then somebody did. Who, Pete did? What's Pete's character's name?
Ballin', right?
Ballin', yeah. And he's a yeah, it's wonderful. I know.
Ballin'.
He's a frost dwarf. What class is he?
A warblade.
Warblade, yeah.
A warblade, yeah.
He was a warblade, and he charged the goblin dogs, and you guys killed a couple.
Yeah.
And they were gonna slaughter, but they're like a good party. And like the goblin dogs were like running away, like
I didn't.
they're just guard dogs. They don't want to all get slaughtered by a party, you know. So they like ran away, and
I chased one.
yeah, you chased one. And when you chased one, you like totally like ignored like.
I wasn't trying to kill him.
I know, but you like ignored like the other side. The other could have went right, but you went left straight towards the bridge.
Well, the dog led me to the bridge.
Right.
But, you know, I
Anyway,
was just following the dog, man.
so he was following the dog, and there's a druid that has exiled himself into the Thistlewood from the main goblinoid encampment because his chieftain Ripnugget has took a fancy to a human, which they refer to as Longshanks in this particular campaign, and he doesn't agree with Nulia, her influence over the chieftain, so he's kind of like protesting, and he's kind of on the outs with the chieftain, and he heard the dogs barking, and he didn't really agree like with what the goblins had did that had brought the PCs there. The goblins had a raid on the town of Sandpoint, where the PCs were, and the PCs end up defending the town. If you're familiar at all with the game or the campaign, and he really didn't want to confront the PCs, but after hearing them kill some of his dogs and some other goblins, he decided he was going to ambush them. And I ran this a little bit different than it was written, only because it didn't really get into detail what he would do if he did hear the dogs barking or was somehow alerted. So I had him and his familiar ambush the party and try to trap them in between himself and the bridge, the swinging rope bridge. And the druid has a distinct advantage there. He can pass through the foliage pretty easily, and his movement isn't as hindered as the PCs were going into the Thistlewood. What happened? There was some combat.
We beat up on his animal companion.
Yeah, they beat up on his animal companion.
We really
He healed it.
Right. He healed it. Then we struck. Then the gnome decided to try a little diplomacy.
Right.
Struck a little bit of a deal with them, sort of.
Yeah, we had a gnome
Led us across the
sorcerer.
bridge.
That's Rander, the gnome sorcerer.
We had.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. This is the main reason why we're making, because it was such an unusual session for me, in my experience. But, and then you guys tried diplomacy, right? Now, the module says that the druid doesn't really want to fight the humans. Like, you know, he'll defend the goblin tribe, but he doesn't really want to go out and fight humans. He's kind of against what his chieftain did, and he's looking to spill as little goblin blood as possible. And so they made a diplomacy check and basically tried to deal with him. And then what happened?
Then we went across the bridge.
Oh, they went across the bridge.
In order to.
Gogmer was the guy's name.
What's that?
Gogmer. Now Gogmer had been in exiles, so the goblins had rigged the bridge, and it didn't say in the module when they had rigged the bridge, so I just assumed he didn't know. It didn't say either way. And so they were going across the bridge, and it's a swinging rope bridge across a channel on the sea onto this island that looks like a head, kind of. And it's an 80-foot drop down to the sea. And so you went across with Gogmer, and Gogmer tried to...
I insisted on single file.
Single file, yeah. Kaku, this is Chris. PCs. Plays my group. He plays Kakao, the Hellbred fighter. Actually, people want to hear about your role-playing choices of the Hellbred fighter.
Vow of Poverty.
But yeah, that's the thing. The fighter Vow of Poverty is very uncommon. People want to hear.
Well, I just figured it would be good for him. I mean, you know, he would obviously be angry at the situation. At the same time, he wants to do good. I think, like, you know, he makes a nice dichotomy of his sinister presence, but his complete devotion to being good and helping others. And,
So why the Vow of Poverty thing? Like normally, like, you know, a lot of people have commented, like, Vow of Poverty is usually something you see with a monk.
it is, and I've played Vow of Poverty monks before, but I decided not to do a monk path, you know, to try something a little different, so I'm a fighter, two-handed fighter, power monster. So,
Yeah, Vow of Poverty fighter. And so
I also like making things hard on myself.
it's a hard role to play. I mean, you can't have stuff. You're a fighter. You need stuff. You know, it's easy to play a Vow of Poverty monk only because monks can fight unarmed, and you know they don't have a lot to use.
My
So,
weapon becomes +5 anyway. Whatever weapon I use.
So so they went across the bridge. Gogmer tried to talk his way into the guards. The guards were playing a game with a seagull attached to a string, taking turns of hitting it with a rock, while one of the goblins was trying to avoid the rock, and whoever, you know, killed the seagull got to eat it, and if the seagull lived, then the guy with the string got to eat it. And so they go in and they try to make diplomacy, but the goblins won't have these humans here that killed so many of them back in Sandpoint, and so they attack, and Gogmer has to take the side of the goblins. So he decides he's going to start casting some spells from back away, and he goes to back across the bridge. And the bridge can only hold 3 medium creatures, or 1 large creature, or 9 small creatures, I believe is how it said. And they made it across okay. And so they're at the gate and they get into the fight. I think this is going to stop in a second at 10 minutes. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure how much further I want to go with it. Maybe we'll have to do this in 2 takes. Everyone's patiently waiting out there in Gaming World. I'd like to see if I can go past 10 minutes.